Thank you, Isha. It's always a pleasure to be in this annual forum. Welcome everyone to Reimagining Cloud, Data and AI, Key to Unlocking Transformations to Technology Collaboration, Data at the Economic Times Global Enterprise Technology Forum. If you look at technology ambitions of organizations, right, most of it is powered by the ABC, the AI, the big data, and the cloud. And while some opinions seem to think of these three in silos, actually they have a very symbiotic relationship. I mean, to be able to do impactful AI, you need lots of data, preferably varied and coming into in actual time. And you need the compute muscle to process it when you want, meaning sporadic demands and peaks, and to be able to run all of this, which comes from the cloud. So data in many ways is actually like money, obviously to oversimplify, right? Money has no value other than its ability to buy goods and services. And the sense of security you get out of the knowledge of that knowledge when you have money. In the same way, data by itself is just bits and bytes and pretty much useless till such time as we are able to harness it and wrangle information out of it. And for that, we need to be able to work with and in an ecosystem that is future facing and allows the right set of talent to collaborate and leverage the best in class and current platforms and tools, right? And for CIOs, CTOs, and technology leaders, this opens up both plenty of opportunities as well as sleepless nights. As technology leaders are the ones with the onus for not only providing superlative responses, but also ensure delivery of experience, right? I have a fairly easy job today because we have a brilliant panel, and hopefully we'll all be able to take away many firm pointers from this conversation. Ravinder, I wanted to come to you first. In general, legacy data infrastructure just isn't cutting it anymore. And you have walked this walk with many other customers. What specific challenges, trends have you been experiencing over there?
Biswajit, thank you so much. And looking at, I think, first, thank you all the forum panelists, TT, for this platform, and which gives us an opportunity to really share our views about what's going on, how the this historical trend is emerging, and especially the last 2 years, how the overall adaptation and the trend is impacted big time. So I mean, goes without saying, as we know, the human beings, the most crucial quality that human beings need, or historically, as Charles Darwin mentioned, is the ability to adapt, right? Now, the last 2 years has really tested this ability. So for the human beings, the way they have adapted in the environment of a sudden change caused by the pandemic, and the society as a whole is trying to adapt to the new normal, right? And so business, especially the way the whole changes happened in the last 2 years, how they use the the cloud agility and the business continuity, right? So those features have really come to the fore, and especially the importance, the strategic importance of the network, has never been so clear that what essentially the business need is a stable network, a network which is not seen, so that the focus really goes to the business and the applications and the productivity, in any kind of environment. And if you look at the user profile today, right, compared to the erstwhile years, the user's life is completely changed. The user is always connected, and he or she is able to has seen a certain kind of an experience in the social life, and the comfort of using technology, using applications, from the cloud, from the most optimal device, or the environment, right? And when the same user is working on the corporate life, on the corporate network and the personal networks, and it is no more so, it is no more a day is kind of segregated between the the work life or the personal life. So seamlessly the roles are changing, and so the experience part, which when a user comes to or works in a hybrid environment, I think the expectation is pretty clear and pretty demanding. Earlier, the downtime at home, I mean, if I see a simple example, was quite tolerable in case the Wi-Fi didn't work for some time, right? But today, I mean, the way the home environment is, with the multiple users are accessing the networks, the real-time applications, I don't think, fraction of seconds of downtime impact the productivity, for all. And the situation is no different when the user is coming to the professional life, where the requirement of the security and the requirement of the other policies are very critical, right? So all too often we have seen that there's a huge disconnect between the network performance, the way the CIO sees it, and the user experience, which essentially gets worse today when the scaling of the number of users, the devices, and the applications are growing in a hyper way. The hyperscaling environment, what the business is looking at. Typically, if I see the IDC data, I mean, there are 41 billion devices being talked about, which will be connected online by 2025. Today, it is about 8 million, right? Then 465 exabytes of data, which will be produced by 2025, right? And of course, the security posture growing. And all this, the CIO has to manage delivering the experience, with a limited manpower, at his disposal. So downtime, of course, is not acceptable at all. But, what is up and running, up and available is not the same as good. That is the key difference, I think, where the trend has completely changed. So just passing a traffic through the network is no longer a measurement of maybe a successful IT infrastructure, right? We have very common, we hear that the Wi-Fi sucks, for example, right? But the CIO dashboards in the networks are all showing the right parameters, or the internet is not working, where if you see at the WAN dashboard, all parameters are looking okay, or my application is slow, for example, right? Whereas when the CIO sees the way to classify whether it's a security problem or a network problem is not very clear. So a good network experience is not about the network being up and running. That is an established fact, right? And of course, the ports and feeds will never go away. But I think what we are looking at is a user experience now. Irrespective of how it is being delivered, and what it calls for is a certain kind of an experience for the CIO to deliver that user experience. I think, Biswajit, I will pause at that, right, and hand over to you. This is where the
Ravinder, I cannot agree more, because I think I agree with you. The definition of what was vanilla in terms of managing technology and infrastructure has totally changed, right? And a lot of this is because, like you said, right, it's an always on-demand environment today, and people will compare your internal applications and services to what they use in their social life. I call this experience spillover, right? People are used to using your Amazon shopping applications in Bangladesh, for example, Priyo Shop or any other food delivery service, etc., and they would want the same type of experience when they use their internal corporate applications. Also, I think, and that's where the whole idea of how do you ensure that delivery of experience, not just delivery of services, done. I'm going to put a pin on this, and I'm going to come back with to get a little more detail on how Juniper is really helping customers do this. Sabbir, I wanted to come to you again, Sabbir. It's a pleasure to meet you again. How is your environmental crusade going? For those of you who don't know Sabbir, he's a very keen environmentalist. He in fact was awarded the Environmentalist of the Year award in 2021, I think, from the South Asia Business Awards. How is that going, Sabbir?
Hey, thank you very much. I mean, that's something that I do on the side as my second profession, you can say, and that keeps me going. And environment is such a thing. I'm sure everybody takes due interest in here.
Yes.
I will elaborate that later on when there's an opportunity.
Absolutely, Sabbir. I think I keep saying this, right? The real tipping point, proving point for any large technological innovation is when it actually impacts the lowest level of the Maslow's hierarchy, when it impacts, food, shelter, in the wellness of people, right? And therefore, it's always great to be involved in that. But to come back to what you have been doing, right? I think while you have had multiple such initiatives on in the last couple of years, your Astha, which was your mobile app, right?
Yeah.
That rollout was quite a success story. I mean, it's in the direct to customer space, and also because it was launched bang in the middle of the pandemic, right? So
Yes,
I think everybody would be interested.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to talk about Astha. Actually, we are in the middle of doing quite a bit of initiatives on digital transformation, and Astha happens to be the one which really got on. We actually had an internet banking homegrown system, which we couldn't really penetrate or sell much. Only 25,000 odd customers used to use. But during pandemic, when we co-created this simple but robust Astha app for our customers with the help of a vendor in India called Clefin, we immediately saw inrush of customers who not only explored the system but started transacting. I must say that there is a dilemma. I mean, if you were to use such mobile or internet-based solutions for banking transaction, due to all sorts of cyber security related unease, people actually take a little time to really initiate transactions. But once they got acquainted with it, now that I can give you two figures, we have what 125,000 active customers in such a small span of time, less than a year, and 2,000 odd crores of taka worth of transaction. That's actually 5-6 folds than what you used to see 2 years ago. Now that it's only growing. On a regular day, we see in excess of 100 crore taka worth of transaction on that platform and close to 20,000 transactions. I must say that it's one of the leading app performance in Bangladesh. There are a couple of other banks who are also equally doing good. But we understood this is going to be the way of life. And pandemic has done us such a great favor. Now that branch traffic is visibly low, and even in the branches, whoever we get, we can and we definitely deliberately teach them how to transfer money from here and how to bring money into the bank without coming to the bank. Through various MFS channels, through various transfers from other banks, it only happens seamlessly and real time. So everything put together, we have high hopes, and we are reaching out to even our SME customers in the remote corners of Bangladesh, where we didn't in the first place believe that there would be candidates for such technology. But more and more, we are seeing people from web-based access or in simple internet-based laptop access. They are moving on to our mobile app. Less than 10% now use laptop for such internet banking transactions, and it's just happening. People may say that we have less number of smartphones in Bangladesh, but that's also growing vigorously. So in about next year or so, I would say the penetration level will be there where we want it to be. Yeah.
Shakib, I think this is a brilliant example of what these technologies, right, data and cloud, how they can actually take the services where they are most needed, right? It is the rural population who actually needed these sort of remote ability to do transaction services, etc., without actually having to physically go to a branch which might not be near them many times, right? And the good thing is, in most South Asian countries, we see that the rural population is actually frog jumped. So they totally gave a miss to the laptop and the PC revolution, jumped directly onto mobility, right? And therefore, the ability for them to be able to do all of this through a mobile app is brilliant. And we're seeing this across, I think, across segments, right? And I will come back, and I know you have many exciting plans for BRAC Bank. We'll come back, we'll talk about that for a while. Rokib, I wanted to come to you. You, of course, have dedicated your entire life to the country, right? You started off in the armed forces, you worked for the Ministry of Home Affairs, you worked for the regulator there, right? And there's a lot to be said about technology, citizens' technology. Right? Rokib, how have you seen these technologies being used for the betterment of the larger country, and what challenges? I'm sure there are, privacy regulatory challenges that you've also been witness to firsthand, right? So we wanted to get a little bit of your opinion on that, Rokib.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Biswajit. Since actually I started working for the military, and also I've seen how the network, how the network was expanding, and also then from the military, I moved into the regulatory body, because there actually I figured that how the MNO, how the ISPs, and how the different service provider were actually getting the reaping the benefit of the technology. What we are calling it right now is the cloud infrastructure, and at the same time, we are also getting the understanding of AI. And Mr. Sabbir has told the right thing, that the Astha app, because I'm also using his Astha app. So I've seen, and also I've seen the app of another, which is the Trust Bank, which is the military bank. But I'm just saying that seeing the because if you talk about the banking experience, I've seen the banks, because we've been visiting the banks, and then for last 3 to 4 years, I don't visit bank. So that is a phenomenal transformation. We have, like, previously we used to go to the bank, and we used to talk to the bank managers and then get all the services. Now, app like Astha, they're eliminating the human interaction. I'm just saying this is a good thing, where an app, intelligent app, can actually do this. So I'm just saying that, though I'm working in the tech industry, but I'm just saying that I've written 6 books. I've written 6 books on AI in Bangla. So I have written 6 books, and these have been also sold in Amazon, because we have a lot of expatriates in all around the world. Those who wants to get the sneak peek view of AI in Bangla. So I've seen how people have, like, now I get a lot of email every day, understanding, because people want to understand what this technology is all about and how this technology can move us forward. At the same time, how this technology can be used to improve upon their daily life. Even then, the people, those who are not in the tech industry, but still these people are approaching me how they would want to use machine learning or AI or any other technology or cloud to improve upon their lives, which was not there even in 3 to 4 years timeline. So non-technology people, they are approaching everywhere, and they are also trying to build their application, not just an app, but then an application which would automate their home, which would automate their industry, and which would automate their job. Because one thing I understood, that most people, they would want to automate their task. So what I understood after talking to everybody is, like, once if anything is repeated, they want to put it to the automation. And how do you want to put it to the automation? You need to learn a new skill, maybe new technology, so that you put it to the automation system. So after coming to Link3, because this is the largest ISP who operates in retail and also in the corporate, so I figured that the technology industry has evolved many fold, because now Mr. Sabbir and also Mr. Ravinder Singh has already said that now the customer base is bigger. Now the companies are not smaller, they are bigger. So now they have to serve a lot of customer at the same time, which we did not anticipate, maybe even our pandemic area. So I'm just saying that after pandemic, most people are moving away, and I think about the great resignation time. So people are resigning because they love their work in home so much. I'm not saying they love, but I'm saying that they understood how they can deliver even from their home. So that has given a business opportunity for ISP like Link3, where we are expanding our bandwidth. I'm just saying that previously we used to sell the bandwidth of 5 Mbps or something like that, but now our prime customers are like 10 Mbps and above. So this gives you an indication how the world is moving forward. So this is where I must say that everybody is moving to cloud, and why they need such a huge bandwidth, because nothing is there like in their desktop, nothing is in their own PC, everything is in the cloud. So I must say that thank you so much. You have actually understood that how this technology has evolved, and now how the new paradigm shift is happening, because the users are being empowered. The subscribers are being empowered to do their things from their home, and also they can do anything and everything 24/7. So they can serve their customer even in the middle of the night to the US region, and also to do similar kind of. So I'm just saying this technology has evolved. It has transformed the general mass, and also it has transformed a ISP like Link3, which is reaping the benefit of the largest user base. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Rakib bhai. I totally agree with you, because I think one of the best yardstick of seeing how the consumption of all of this has grown is to see how the actual consumers, how their need for bandwidth has grown, like you were saying, right? And obviously, a lot of this is with convenience, is with automation, right? It is the convenience economy after all. And one of my favorites, so I borrowed this joke from a dear friend of mine who's a dean at one of the IIT colleges in India. And he says, what is the factory of the future? He says, the factory of the future is a human being and a dog. And the only work of the human being is to feed the dog. And the only work of the dog is to see that the human being doesn't touch anything in the factory, right? But obviously, it's an exaggeration. But I think I really love what you say, and the fact that you've written books of AI in Bangla, because that's where it is going, right? Data, AI, cloud, it is, whether we know it or we don't, it's touching all our regular lives, all our everyday lives in many, many ways. Unfortunately, Rakib, I'm not sure I'll be able to do the reading of a book. আমি বাংলা বলতে পারি, বুঝতে পারি, পড়তে একটু problem হয়, but I will work on it, and I look forward to seeing translations of that, right? Abhijit, I wanted to come to you. You have been a part of quite a few very successful transformations which are data and cloud and AI upfront and center, right? I think it would be interesting for all of us. Why don't you walk us through some of these?
Yes, I am. Thanks for the session, Mr. Biswajit and all other panel speakers. This is very much a good opportunity to talk with the technology with some kind of legends of industry. So thanks to all for joining and talking about that. Here I want to praise two things that is mentioned by Rakib sir, that is the automation, AI. So yes, we are gradually creeping in there. So I believe within 2025 we will be the one of the hardest part in automation from Bangladesh. And one other thing already mentioned by Sabbir sir, that is about the digital transformation. Yes, my basically today I want to talk about this transformation and automation features. So if without the transformation, it is not possible to cope with the technology. This is truth for all organizations. If somebody thinks that I will be the static one, I will not change, my products are going well, then once upon a time the market will throw it out. That is the real thing already been described by Sabbir sir, because BRAC Bank online has come many years ago, but the modification or the change need, they feel it, and they did verified electronically. So this is kind of data we are processing in everyday life. So if we can process that data in everyday life in a faster, are not accustomed to do the same tasks again and again. So if I generalize the automation, there are three kinds of artificial intelligence and automation influence comes in. One is we can call it artificial narrow intelligence, artificial general intelligence, and artificial super intelligence. I would not like to talk about narrow and general, so I will focus on the super intelligence. So the narrow intelligence is just the same thing, some kind of robotic work. And general intelligence is almost equivalent with human being, or not equivalent with human being, but tends to but super intelligence we are talking about. So if the super intelligence can do its work, then human can focus on much more creativity, or human can afford much more good things in their life. Here I want to add one thing, that is the basically in this technological discussion, one thing is very much necessary to describe the risks of AI. So we everybody, all of us know that that Fat Man and Little Boy was not a good product of technology. That is dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Basically, fusion reaction was not analyzed or discovered for the Fat Man and Little Boy, but it is our bad take good technology in bad people's hand. So Fat Man and Little Boy was used. So we have to be careful that this kind of super intelligence AI shouldn't be used against the humankind, or it cannot go in the rough way, so that it can hamper the human being. So if we can controllably use that, then I believe already. So Rakib sir said that 3 to 4 years he is not going in the bank. So maybe that day will come. We will not see any branch also in the street side. The bank will be the virtual one. Now coming on the AI specific part, that is Ravinder Singh was telling. I am specifying the Juniper services, especially the wireless services. Earlier, we got the wireless error code, errors, or the interruption for Wi-Fi 4 and 5 in some kind of error code 12, error code 42, something like this, which is not very much human readable. But what Juniper has come through that, this error code has turned into the machine readable thing in a graphical way, in a cloud oriented dashboard. So this is the this how AI is making our life easier for a new network troubleshooting person, or someone who is not also a IT guy. He can also realize the message that yes, my DSCP is broken out, my pool is fully filling, or the connection strength is so low, I am getting disconnected. This is simply human readable language. More even that, not even the language. If someone is not so much educated to read English, then it can be also in the graphical way. So this is the thing, AI is changing our life in a smoother way. I'm using this kind of networking security technology for a long time. So if someone say me about the specific products, I can tell each and everything of industry leading products, not only Juniper, Cisco, Palo Alto, Sonic Wall, whatever that is, because it's my daily work to play with them. So but my concern is, now if you concern the another competitor of Juniper for the wireless, this is Meraki and Meraki Go. So Meraki Go is much more trying to make it easier for the home user. So why it is why people, industry like tech giants are thinking about the home users, because they are using the AI, the cloud, the big data in behind, so that they are thinking that this kind of heavy hardware can be managed or used by the home users also. So this is completely a back panel of data, AI, and cloud engine. So if everything, the one speaker already told that that is the 8 million online devices now on going on. So 25 million we are expecting in 2025, but I believe that everyone will be online in any other way. Because why I'm telling that, one people who is not using the smartphone, we may say that he's not online. Okay, he's not online, but he's also in the calculation of something. If he has a Symbian or the old mobile phone, which can also be in track, so he's not directly online, but we can track him also. So this kind of data, AI, cloud engine, we are calculating in behind. So if this kind of transformation is going on. Transformation is inevitable. So data center has moved into the cloud. So data services are going in the cloud. Many speakers have told that pandemic has did this. Yes, pandemic has gave us the new focus point, new feature that yes, services can be on everywhere. Now we are not bound to go office for the checking the office services or the applications. So this kind of transformation is happening for every organization. If someone says that no, I am not accustomed with the transformation, then you have to go out from the business. It is clear message for all tech leaders. And next thing is that the security. In the last 10 minutes, I was talking about the technology and technology progress, transformation, data. Now the focus point is the security, because if we cannot protect our data, then the technology transformation will be ruined in a very near soon, because everyone is trying to steal everyone's data. Google has, Yahoo has breached, Facebook has breached in some other means. So data is the most vital. Biswajit sir has already told that in other means of money. Yes, I feel that. That's why I always put my profile in low light, because my data is my data. There is no because nowadays many young people I specifically mentioned doesn't mean the value of personal life, work life, and social life. So they are putting all the data together in online, which is ruining their future life. So what is personal life? My personal life data is personal. So personal life, human work life, and professional life should be maintained strictly, so that a person can secure himself. This is in the perspective of a person security. Apart from that, if I consider the organizational security, data security, then the skyrocket growth in the transformation, we have to ensure the security also. Other than the rocket will be blast in the sky. Just we may say that it's like Elon Musk's first and second attempt, but the third attempt Elon Musk has succeeded. So Bangladesh or other tech giant countries shouldn't be think like Elon Musk. We have to save the rocket in the first attempt. So till now, Bangladesh is very much fortunate or the well equipped to deal with the international attacks or the cyber crimes. So I hope towards the near coming future, we will save our data and continue our growth towards the transformation using the AI and big data. Thanks to all.
Absolutely, Abhijit. I think you're right. Obviously, and one of the things, Sabbir, if nothing else from this call, we know Astha is really popular. Everybody is using Astha, so that's a good thing, Sabbir. The other thing is, like you were saying, Abhijit, there are already banks who have zero brick and mortar presence. Actually, in France, the largest and these are called neobanks, right? The largest neobank is actually bigger than HSBC in France, right? So that's the extent of it. And obviously privacy is a concern, and there we are finding ways of doing this. I'm sure you've heard these are new buzzwords: differential privacy. How do you train models without really having to access customer data? So you have companies, organizations like Tonic, which do use synthetic data, which give you access to synthetic data. But one of the thing is that it also has to be looked at in a pragmatic way, right? There are no free lunches. So therefore, if you want to use a product for free and you're not paying for it, then you are the product. And that's something that we must realize. So we can't have our cakes and eat it too. And I think that's where a lot of it ends. Ravinder, Shakib, you might want to go on mute, I think you're Sabbir, you might want to go on mute, please. Yeah, thanks. Ravinder, I wanted to come back to you. Like I said before, you have walked this walk with multiple customers before, right? So what does Juniper bring to the table in this regard for your clients?
Yeah, I think, thank you so much again. And the context is defined very well by all our panelists, and especially at the cost of repetition, but I think it is worthwhile. I'd like to congratulate Mr. Sabbir on the Astha usage and the successful adoption of that with the way Mr. Rakibul has mentioned. And Rakibul also talked about the operational challenges and how the technology is enabling that to serve the user, in the ISP. And Abhijit, of course, mentioned very deeply about the technology and the AI, and how it is important to make sure that the adaptation is we are on the right side of the history, when we adopt the AI, and also how the security postures, are taken care of, so that it is not exploited, when we deploy it across the boundaries. Now, when we look at the experience, as I mentioned before, and I think all the users, whether it's a user experience of the Astha or it's an experience of the network of an ISP, or we are looking at across the data centers, the WAN, and the campus. What is one thing is that to deliver an experience to the user, the CIO need to have a AI ops level of an experience in his own domain, so that the understanding of the whole network, visibility of the whole network, what is going on at any given point of time, to a level that, suppose right now the Zoom call is on, and in case something is not working properly, can a CIO office identify the real time, where exactly the problem lies? It is not post facto. It is as current in the now. So that's where the AI capability comes in. So Juniper has gone to a level where we deploy the AI assistant, in the network, as one of your team member. For example, when as a CIO you come to the office and having a coffee in the morning, you can ask the agent, right? The Marvis, what we call it, that how is my network functioning? Show me the challenging areas, domain of yesterday, which all users, face the challenges in connecting to the Wi-Fi, right? A conversational interface is where, we have reached from the solution proposition point of view. So that person is a part of the IT discussion and the review of the network, and you're asking questions verbally and getting the responses on that. So to make that a reality, what does it take is how exactly we are able to make the network seen as a one network. How across the wired and the wireless, across the devices, across the applications, right? And the DC, the WAN, the campuses. On top of that, the heterogeneous networks, which makes it more complex to deliver this with all the security postures that we are talking about. So, this to deliver that level of automation, which is being mentioned by all the panelists, we need to have a great telemetry of the full network. So telemetry, where the data is coming in, and the AI makes sense out of that data and deliver the use case that the CIO is looking at. So AI in talking is one, but making it relevant for a business as a use case is the second thing. I think that maturity has really come in the value proposition, that we are talking with our customers. And we are seeing that majority of the CIOs today, the automation is a topmost priority. It is about the integration of, it is not that you have something running in the WAN part of it or a cloud part of it, and your campus is on something else. So it is about how these three applications, whether it is at the DC management application, or it's an SD-WAN, or it's a campus, how exactly we are able to correlate and integrate these applications and arrive at a single dashboard where CIO is able to get a single view about various things happening in the network in a real time. I think that is what the key for automation is, and that is what the maturity in the last 2 to 3 years, the Juniper has acquired, and the adoption and the engagement with most of the customers across the industries is happening. Yeah. So I mean, just to conclude, Biswajit, on this part, that when we are talking about this kind of scenario, what we are talking is the operations, have become from reactive to proactive. That is where we have arrived. Before a user comes to know that I have a challenge or he's raising a ticket. So the issue is what we are trying to migrate our customers is, let's not focus on the ticket what the user is raising, that my Wi-Fi is not working. Let the user be focused on the application, and the CIO office, before the ticket is raised, comes to know that there's a challenge with the user. So it's all about being proactive in identifying a problem and resolving a problem before a user coming to know. I think that's a huge and disruptive change, what we have seen in our industry. Yeah, I'll take a pause at that And hand over to you.
I want to add with Ravinder in here, the Juniper is doing the great, that is, they are also collaborating the technology with other cloud giant vendors or the competitive companies. Because now we are commonly seeing that we are designing something with other vendor products like Cisco. But yes, API calling I can be done for the Juniper products and also integrate it with Cisco product. So this is the one of the coolest thing Juniper team has thought. So now I have one hardware, I have a Juniper hardware, now I'm purchasing different hardware from different vendor. But what is happening? I'm getting stuck, I cannot integrate, the API will not work. So no, you guys are open. So your module is open and easy to integrate. So that is the beauty I believe will be continued and Juniper business will also growing on.
Yep. So Ravinder, I really liked what you said, and obviously, again, you have another fan for your brand. But what I really like about what you said and what Juniper does is, I think twofold, right? One is intervention should be as and when an event is occurring, right? Post facto, it just adds to the dissatisfaction, and therefore, you have all your AI ops, ML ops in place. You have your AI agents in place. The other thing that I really liked is when a CIO comes into the office today, we have an overload of data, right? But what we lack is actionable insights, and this is how dashboards have also progressed. If you remember, in the early days of dashboards, it would be more like flat files, like Excel sheets, and then we went to visualization. We went full on. We said, how much can we fit into a page or a screen? Put everything in. I want to see everything in a screen. And slowly, if you see, the true north now of any dashboard is to say, don't give me so much data, right? Tell me what are my actionables for the day. If I trust the data enough, and then I'm just happy to get saying, these are the three things that you need to do today as a CIO, as a CTO, and that really works, right? And that's where I think we're all really heading. And of course, it is organizations like Juniper who have realized that we are all part of the same ecosystem, and therefore inclusive development, inclusive growth is necessary, right? Ravinder, I'll be coming back to you for a quick roundup, but before that, Sabbir, I wanted to come to you because I know, I want you to gaze into your crystal ball for, BRAC Bank. I know you have a lot of things planned in this space for BRAC, right? I'm sure you're already looking at ways to leverage your relationship with Bcash. And of course, we spoke about your ongoing plans to look at hybrid clouds, etc. Give us a sneak peek of what the next few years for BRAC will be like in this space.
Thank you very much, Krishna. Basically, we are looking at not only delivering service, we are looking at delivering experience. And that's what it matters, not only to our customers, but to all our stakeholders. That may include our internal stakeholders, the regulators, the vendors, the whole ecosystem. From that point of view, definitely automation, productivity, efficiency, increasing tools are something that everybody will think about. In the same journey, we started with our foundational projects, initially with all the core systems that we enhanced, increased to make it more stable, scalable, and so that these are no more headaches. Eventually, immediately after, we looked at things like document management system, a cash management system, eKYC, the onboarding systems, CRM, so on and so forth. Not all of them have already been implemented. They are in the pipeline. Again, you'd probably say that in the advanced economies, these are foundational again. But in our countries, we are a little lagging behind, like 10, 15 years always, we are a little behind. But good that we are investing and getting things done. On data analytics, actually the problem is there are too many systems and dissimilar systems, and these data you'd find are siloed, and not all of them are equally accessible. So current capability, I would hesitate to say that it is rudimentary, but it's not really quite there where I would like it to be. Then again, cloud is another thing, looking at it in the horizon. But we understand it is going to be hybrid if it is anything in the near future. We already use some, but not to the extent that we need it to be exploited. Again, in evaluating any system or platform, we'll surely be looking at cloud. We are working with the regulator to understand extent of usage in terms of data privacy and all. We cannot house all our customer data cross border, so it will be hybrid in that perspective. Again, AI is something that we are actually trying to partner with various stakeholders who has greater grip on it. Definitely to start with, we will look into the credit space where nano lending is something that we will attempt with AI. There are examples already. That's something. But it's very interesting to learn from Ravinder that AI assistant is something that can help sniffing the network and giving us more intelligence. I'll surely partner with Ravinder to learn more about it. So opportunities are unlimited, and if we really look at this single phrase, the customer experience, it's not customer service or it's not customer quality, then we have actually a lot to do, not something that we are doing today, but entirely different thing. It's not about implementing a platform or a system, but it's about tapping into the experience that he has just received to see if that differentiates us. So
Sabbir,
that's the thought.
Sabbir, I think exciting times ahead for Batman, right? I think microfinance has been one of the greatest success stories for data and AI. And also, just to tell you, just to give you assurance, Sabbir. So what I do for a living is I create large data lakes, data platforms for banks, telcos, government organizations, right? So I want to give you the assurance that the place you are in is not unique. Everybody is in similar places saying data is in silos. How do I get it together? What sort of a hybrid cloud strategy do I have, etc., etc. So it's a good start that they've already done there, and of course there are people like Ravinder, etc., to help you to go ahead on that. Quick 30 seconds, Rakib. 30 seconds for you. The most important thing in the future in this space.
Okay, can I share for 20 seconds one of the screen? Can I share that?
Sure.
Okay. So
I'm not sure screen share is okay. Yep.
Okay. So actually, the thing what I was talking about, that end of the day, the book, out of this book. So one of the book what I was talking about, that in Bengali, it is a kind of you have to how to use data to support a nation or support a state to listen to his people. So the book said the nation or how the state can listen to the data to understand what he talks about the future and how it can serve the people. So this is what I was talking about, that use of data and use of AI and how the nation or the state can actually support this kind of thing.
This is brilliant, Rakib. We will all look forward to getting a signed copy from you. Abhijit, 30 seconds. What is the most exciting thing that's happening in the near future in terms of data AI for you? Rakib, you might want to, okay. Abhijit?
Sabbir was telling about the hybrid services or the hybrid scenarios. Yes, from my point of view, the total data transformation will be in the hybrid format. It will also helpful for the user to avail the service, and for the stakeholders who the people who we are giving the service, it will be easier because we will background use in AI and data, and people are getting the service directly.
So I hear you, hybrid. Ravinder, last word from you.
Yeah. So thank you, Biswajit. So my only submission is to all the panelists. The proof of pudding lies in eating. So whatever great things we talked about, and Abhijit, thank you very much for the acknowledgement. It's quite motivating for us and our development teams. So the four pillars are very important whenever you think of looking at architecture for the next decade. One is that incorporating the assured user experiences. That whatever we do, are we delivering the assured user experience in the end across wired and wireless? Second, whatever network we are building up, is it cloud first and cloud ready? All the devices that we buy, are they compatible with the cloud from day one? Third pillar is about self-driving automation. We build an architecture where the automation is day one, but it should be self-driving, as the network evolves. And last but not the least is a threat aware. How exactly we are taking care of security extended to all points of connection, be it routers, switches, APs, and gateways. I think these 4 elements will ensure that, and this is wrapped around Biswajit and all the panelists, is the intent-driven networking. One of the new things I would like our panelists to, to call Juniper and hear more about is how do we implement the intent-based networks? For example, that we have an intent that the whole network should run in a particular way at a data center. How exactly the technologies like Abstra are deploying, these architectures in an automated way, because slowly and slowly we'll reach a scale where it will be difficult to manage data center and things manually. So automation and automation driven by intent, of the CIO office is, I would like to take a pause at that. That's the exciting journey we are taking for next decade. Thank you.
Ravinder, we couldn't have wrapped it up better. Thank you so much. I remember in the early days of language translation codes, one of the experiments was translating the phrase, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, into Russian. And what came out of the other side was the vodka is good, but the meat is rotten. So while thankfully our NLP results have become better, but a lot of our enterprises have the same problems as brought up by the original phrase, namely that the data and AI and automation business strategy and ambitions are very enthusiastic, but the underlying infrastructure capabilities are just not built for modern AI, right? And modernizing your data infra, your network infra is the horse that needs to go in front of the cart of AI ML use cases and monetization at scale. And the trifecta of tenants that should be kept at the center of this, which should inform your investments and efforts, the 3 holy H, as I call them. And of course, all of this within the cocoon of industry standard security and regulations would be hyper performance support for automation, AI, ML workloads, hyper scalability, and a hybrid cloud ready, because when it comes to cloud, it's not a question of if, it's a question of when. And believe me, there is divine precedence in this, right? Someone asked God that now that water has been made an essential element for survival, what was the plan to solve the supply challenge and get it to reach all corners of the world? And God said, I've been thinking of a cloud-based system, right? So the precedence always existed. It took technology a few millennium to catch up. Now, of course, we are making up time with the vengeance. It's been a brilliant day of interaction with people who are designing, visioning, and building and consuming this data AI ecosystems in this part of the world. Thank you, Rakib. We will be looking forward to signed books from you. Sabbir bhai, you have promised me Ilish Mach, Ami Jokhoni Bangladesh Albo. You have said you will give me Ilish Mach. Right, Abhijit, I look forward to interacting with Ravinder. It's a pleasure always. Right, Isha, back to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah.